Redefining the Empty Nest. Here are your hosts, Lisa McGrath and Renee Lowry.
Hello, welcome to Coffee Chat, Redefining the Empty Nest. I'm Lisa.
I'm Renee.
And today we have our lovely guest, Phyllis. We're talking about what it's like to really think about that next chapter of your life. You can redefine the empty nest. And so Phyllis, we're just so excited to have you here and to share your story. And I know you've got a couple little grandchildren we can talk about too.
Yes, I do.
I love the photos that I've seen. So welcome and thank you. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All righty. So it's very interesting that you're talking about the empty nest because I have been working with primarily women because I think women are more affected by the empty nest because a lot of them have been home, they've been taking care of the kids, and all of a sudden the kids are gone and they go, now what? And so in my journey of franchising, I've been in franchising pretty much all my career. And it's really funny because recently people have been saying to me, Phyllis, what is it about you and franchising? Why do you like franchising so much? And so I've been doing a lot of, let's say, introspection. I'm working on writing my story and I'm working on another book. And one of the things I realized is that the reason I'm so passionate about franchising is because I started my career working for a franchise company.
Redefining the Empty Nest. Here are your hosts, Lisa McGrath and Renee Lowry.
Hello, welcome to Coffee Chat, Redefining the Empty Nest. I'm Lisa.
I'm Renee.
And today we have our lovely guest, Phyllis. We're talking about what it's like to really think about that next chapter of your life. You can redefine the empty nest. And so Phyllis, we're just so excited to have you here and to share your story. And I know you've got a couple little grandchildren we can talk about too.
Yes, I do.
I love the photos that I've seen. So welcome and thank you. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All righty. So it's very interesting that you're talking about the empty nest because I have been working with primarily women because I think women are more affected by the empty nest because a lot of them have been home, they've been taking care of the kids, and all of a sudden the kids are gone and they go, now what? And so in my journey of franchising, I've been in franchising pretty much all my career. And it's really funny because recently people have been saying to me, Phyllis, what is it about you and franchising? Why do you like franchising so much? And so I've been doing a lot of, let's say, introspection. I'm working on writing my story and I'm working on another book. And one of the things I realized is that the reason I'm so passionate about franchising is because I started my career working for a franchise company and behind the scenes. I've seen the people in the operations department, in the sales department, in the areas where they have to help the people find locations and build out. So I've seen the passion and the love that they have and the support they give the franchise owners. So that's why I'm so passionate about franchising. And I've actually been doing this role for the last 18 years where I help people who don't know what they want to do figure out what would be next. One of the things I often say to them is everything you've done to this point prepares you for what the next chapter will be. And a lot of times, if our paths cross, there must be a reason for it. And I'm very inclined to believe in if the door opens, I encourage you to go through it because so many people pass up opportunities that they don't take because they're afraid. They don't know what's going to be on the other side. Don't just go for it. It's so
Just,
much
yeah.
fun. The adventure of life is amazing.
So let me
And
ask you, can I just interrupt you for a second? So you've been
of
doing this
course,
for years. So actually you were raising your family while you were working.
yes, I
And
was.
yeah, so that's really interesting too, because for some of us, that role of being out in the workforce plus raising our family um, was very became traditional. We had to work,
Oh,
whether we were,
absolutely.
yeah, and it was a necessity. So that's really great. And how many children do you have?
So I have two children. I have a son that just made me a grandmother, and I have two little babies now, a 2 month old, and Emma's, I think, 30 months old now. And we have so much fun. They live close to me, so we're having a blast with that. And then I have a daughter who has special needs, and she lives in the state of Washington. And the journey of my life has been wonderful because one of the gifts of franchising for me is that I've always been an independent contractor. I've owned franchises, but I've been on the independent contractor side. Now I represent like 350 companies. But I needed flexibility. And so being in a sales mode was perfect for me because that way I could take care of all my daughter's doctor's appointments and whatever she needed and the special schools. And I think people don't realize that being your own boss enables you the opportunity to go see the kids in their sports because you're the boss. They kind of forget that, right? But that's why I always encourage people. And sometimes women feel like they're not prepared. I mean, I don't have a college degree, and I've been self supporting pretty much most of my life. So you can do it if you just go for it. You just have to have the courage to find something that fits you that you really love doing. Because if you love what you're doing, you're not working anyway. It just happens and it's
Yeah,
joyful.
I usually have my pencil right here, but I don't have it right now. I don't see it because one of the things that I teach is with the eraser of a pencil is that you can erase that apostrophe T, that can't. You can do whatever it is you set your mind to because what
Yeah,
we
you can.
focus on, yeah, we can manifest. Yeah.
Hmm.
So um, now Renee, she also has two children. I have two children, but Renee has one that's grown and flown. She's already gone off to college, and then she still has one at home. So she isn't exactly where you and I are just yet,
Hmm.
where the kids are old enough and responsible for themselves, and they're out of the house. So Renee, do you have any questions for Phyllis?
I would like to ask how you do self motivation. What tips do you have to help keep me as a business owner, as an empty nester where I'm finding myself with more free time? How do you stay inspired to motivate yourself? Because I know with a special needs child and owning your own business for so many years, you must have some great practices and
Yeah.
some.
I would tell you that, first of all, when you have a special needs child, I mean, she'd move out and then she'd come back, and then she'd move out and she'd come back. And she's now 38. So we've done this dance quite a long time. And I think I finally moved out of state so that she'd have to be on her own because she can do it. She just needs more courage. And that leads me to a franchise I want to do, but we'll talk about that maybe some other time. So the things that really help me to have things around me that are motivating, like I have a picture that I look at every day that says mindset is everything. And it's a picture of a fish with a shark's tail on. He's got it pinned to him. So everybody thinks he's a shark. So I have motivational stuff on my desk. I have my screensaver is a motivation. And the other thing that I've found is that if something's happened and like I'm in sales, right? So if I'm working with somebody and they call me up and say, Phyllis, I got a job. That happens a lot in my business. I got a job. Sorry, I'm out of here. I'll say, okay, I understand. And then I hang up the phone and I'm sad because I really like the people, right? And so sometimes I just get up and go take a walk. It's kind of like you have to just accept it and then move on. Or, yeah, I'll go take a walk or I'll go out and visit my dogs or I'll just go, grab a cold glass of water. But it's really that self-care that's really important. And also remember to close your office and have a door that you can close your office. I think so many times we work nonstop, especially when I'm single and I don't date. When I'm not dating, it's like all I do is work. Nothing else to do. I might as well work. And it's stupid because you don't really accomplish that much. You're really busy being busy, and you're not doing the things that really make you money. So
Yeah.
I hope that's helpful. But yeah, I think a really good positive mindset is really important. And just to realize that you're not in charge, at least in my world, I'm not in charge, God is. And so I just kind of
Yeah.
turn it over. And one of the things that I will say is if I'm having a really bad day and things are really in the dumps, and that's called life, I'll say, okay, God, just give me a sign. Just give me a sign, something. I'll get a phone call, I'll get an email, I'll hear a song on the radio. And that's my sign that says, Phyllis, don't worry, I got your back. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, I
really
love
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said self-care, because that's one of the things that my latest book is about is self-care with a house
Yep.
with 4 rooms. And so taking a walk, getting the glass of water, getting away from your office and closing the door, all of the things that you can do. And I think, Renee, you'll agree, it's that relationship with yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
real
The
important.
other thing that I read recently, and it's so true, is that music can change your physiology.
Mm-hmm.
Tears are
Absolutely.
cleansing. They're soothing because God gave us tears for a reason. But if you're really in a bad space, put on some music you love, and it'll flip it does something to your physiology to let you
It
go
absolutely.
do the next thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My favorite part of your advice there, which was wise, I loved it. It was great. And I think I need reminded of that several times. But is the accepting piece, because you hit that right on the head. I think as soon as you can accept your circumstances as they are without
Mhm.
feeling the
Yes.
guilt, without feeling the
Yes.
pressure, then
Yes.
you can start to move on from there. But
Mhm. I
you
agree.
can't move on from there as long as you're stuck in that I don't accept where I'm at. I don't accept, and you're fighting what is, and
You're
that's
trying to
not
force. You're
cool.
trying to force, as they say, you're trying to force a solution,
Right.
Right.
and
Yes.
and you're powerless. It's really hard. As I think it's very hard for men to be powerless because they're geared to fix, and so they really struggle
Yeah.
with the whole powerless idea. It's also very hard for women because we're very nurturing, and I want to make you feel better, and I want to help you. We're all into helping
Yeah.
people, but
Mm-hmm.
there are certain things that you just don't have any power over. I mean, I don't have
It's
any
very
power
true.
over somebody having the courage to sign on the dotted line and become a franchise owner once they've been awarded the franchise. It's a big step. It's a life-changing experience, and I take it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. How would you say it felt as you were going through that empty nest phase? What kinds of things were you experiencing? Was it challenging? Was it rewarding? How did that go down for you?
It
That first
I would
initial.
it was like an emotional roller coaster because you go from having someone in your home that you have these little conversations with, and for me, because of my daughter's personality and her disability, for years and years we were not like a typical mother-daughter because she resisted so many of the things that I wanted to do with her because she wasn't interested at all, and we didn't have much of a communication until she went to this to manage the coaches that help the kids, people with disabilities. So, and of course, the first thing she says to me is, Mom, I've never been a manager before. I said, you're going to have to really be organized. Will you be able to help me with that? I said, of course I will. So, that's what we do, right? But yeah, it was emotional because you go from them being with you all the time to it's quiet. It's very quiet. And especially
Mm-hmm.
I'm single. So it's not only quiet, but there's nobody else in my house. So I've gotten involved. I think as a woman, you have to get involved. You can't isolate. Isolating is not healthy. You need to get involved in something, whether it's a church group, if you've got, drugs and alcohol in the family, maybe join an Al-Anon meeting. I mean, like-minded people. Take up a craft. But it is, one more time, it's about self-care. It's about taking care of yourself and doing the things that you need to do that bring you joy. Because so much of what we do is about bringing joy and helping our kids. Now all of a sudden there's nobody there to help. So now we have to figure out, how can we help ourselves. I'm a very creative person, and I was in the printing industry, and one of the things I did was became the web editor for my church. Because I'm in sales and I do so much in sales, but I needed a creative outlet. So I was being of service and doing something I enjoy and learning new stuff because I love technology. So it's things like that that you can do to be of service. So it's kind of like a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
That's
I'm
awesome.
curious about, you said your daughter, you communicated differently when she went to that school. What are some of the communication strategies that you use with your daughter, and do they also transfer to when you relate to your son?
No, because my son is so totally opposite than her. He's very independent. He's very entrepreneurial. He's a little mini me. And so we had totally a different kind of relationship. But with my daughter, what was really sweet about it is that if you've never been around kids with disabilities, one of the things that I identified, it was fascinating to me, was that these kids get each other. They don't see the disability. I mean, a lot of them have autism. They had one student that was blind. They had, they had all sorts of different disabilities, but they were the kids that they learned how to take the bus. My daughter happens to drive. But when she took the communication course, it opened up her mind to not realize had never learned about body language and tone and then just learning literally learning how to communicate opened up her world. Because before then, if you'd say, "Hi, Susie, how are you doing?" "Fine." "What have you been up to?" "Nothing." And that was kind of the extent of the conversation. Her dad lived in
Almost like
California. Huh?
almost like a teenager. Ask a teenager, "What'd you do today?" "Nothing."
Well, but see, when you have kids with disabilities, they typically have the maturity of like 12 to 15.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And so, yeah.
Nice.
So it's been life-changing for her.
That's good. How would you
Yeah.
say you've redesigned your life since having no kids at home, as often as you do have no kids at home? Is there any way specifically you've taken a different path because you didn't have children at home anymore?
Yes. So what I've done is when I moved from Washington down here when I became a Grammy. And I made the decision because I'm a native Californian, always knew I wanted to come home. So I spent 20 years in Washington. And, when I got to see Emma born, it was life-changing for me. And so when I came down here, I made the decision that I was getting involved in my local market. And so I did. I joined the local Chamber of Commerce. They have a networking group that I joined right away. And I like people anyway. And so it was easy for me to kind of get involved. And I've always known that if you're going to join a group, you have to get active. You can't just join the group and show up. But you got to get on the boards. You've got to participate because people like to do business with people they know and trust. And how are they going to get to know you if you don't spend the time? And that's one of the things I try to encourage clients when they, venture off to do their business. They've got to get involved in the local community because you want to be the person to go to get whatever it is business you're doing. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And I like that because you're not self-isolating, even though you might be alone or empty nest. By participating in these groups, by joining, whether it's your church, the chamber, all of these different, the Lions, all of these groups are ways for you to step out of your comfort zone, meet people, and redefine yourself.
Yeah. I mean, Toastmasters, if someone is not comfortable speaking, joining Toastmasters is a great way to learn how to get up. I did Toastmasters years ago, but clearly I'm not shy on talking. So it wasn't a path I really felt I needed to go down, but it did help me be clear. And I just tried different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just don't isolate. Isolating healthy.
Yeah,
but it's
and even in Toastmasters.
Huh?
Yeah. Even in Toastmasters, you have the opportunity to meet people. So,
Absolutely.
even if you're a great speaker, go and meet people and hang out and find an organization that you enjoy. And it might be public speaking. And in that case, go right ahead and join a group like that just for the people.
Yeah, since COVID hit, I joined the Speakers Network. I mean, I've really ventured out. I did Forbes Riley's thing. So I've started groups because my business model is rather, I don't want to say unique because it's not really unique. It's just, it's the best kept secret in town. Because every time I meet somebody, I go, oh, I didn't know that people did that. How can you not know? But people don't know. And when people think franchising, they think food. And there's so much more to franchising than food, and it doesn't have to be that expensive. So,
yeah.
I love it.
Very
I love
awesome.
it. Love it. And I think one of the major takeaways that I'm getting is that don't self-isolate. Put yourself out there, meet people, join groups, and don't just join like Phyllis just said, like you said,
be a part of it.
Be a part of it. You know, be of service. And when you're of service and you're giving, that's when people get a chance to get to know you. They get to like you and express you. So that's real important information.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So what would you say the number one piece of advice you would give to our future empty nesters like me, people who are approaching that stage?
I would say do some soul searching to think about what is it that you can be doing that brings you joy. What are the things that you enjoy doing? What skills, whether you're a homemaker, which is a great skill in itself. I mean, if you think about all the things we as moms have to do, we have great skills. We just don't have the confidence. So I would say, think about what it is you love to do and then go seek it out. You know, what people don't realize about a franchise is that, let's say you're an empty nester and you come work with someone like me, and we spend time looking at different franchise concepts because I take people through a process of discovery, trying to figure out what is it you really like. And let's say it's a mom that really, I mean, her kids have moved out, but she loves working with kids. I've got lots of franchises that have to do with helping children, whether it's little ones, whether it's art, whether it's sports, whatever. I mean, we've got one called Kiddo Kinetics, and it's all about teaching kids different sports, but it's outside and it's productive. And I've got Pro Martial Arts that teaches kids courage and leadership. There's so many things out there. So, you know, find something that you really enjoy. And the other thing that's great about a franchise is that you have a built-in community of other franchise owners. And if you're married, you don't have to wait for your husband to come home and say, honey, I'm having a problem with blah, blah, blah. You know, can you help me with it? She doesn't have to ask him. You call your business coach or you call another franchise owner and they can help you out. So she gets to have autonomy. She gets to feel good about herself and to have a proven model that she knows if she follows the system, she has every right to be as successful as the top person in the group. So it's fun.
I love it.
And I think that's awesome too, because life is all about following that system, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
That's just like, why reinvent the wheel if it's been done before?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
I'm putting together a presentation right now, and what people don't realize is it normally takes people about 3 years to get a business up and going, whereas you can be up and operating in 6 months with a franchise, and it's a proven system. Now, the challenge, the homework is for you to do the due diligence before you sign on the dotted line, and that's where I help make sure they get all their questions answered, and to make sure that they are getting into the business for the right reasons. They're not getting sold, because I hate that. I want them to be excited and to know. They'll know. I always say, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to be successful. And then it's up to you. How successful do you want to be? You get to pick that. So.
Yeah, you get to pick. That's what I love. You get to pick. And you get to pick. Yeah, you get to pick. I teach that you're responsible for your own life. And so one of the things you can do is pick and choose. Choose the direction you want to go in. And what's really great is you can pivot. Even though, like you just said, if you loved your kids and you your kids, and now it's up to you. If you want to continue, you could do something like you're suggesting and open a franchise, open a business that takes care of children. or move in another direction and pivot and do something totally different, because the world is your oyster. You get to do
Absolutely.
and pick and choose. So that's awesome. Thank you, Phyllis. Oh, I think this was great.
If you'd like to be a guest on Coffee Chat, follow, subscribe, and like our videos. You can follow Redefining the Empty Nest on YouTube or join the Facebook group.